And welcome to the Township of Whitewater Region's regular council meeting for Wednesday, April 16th. We're going to call ourselves to order here at 4:46 p.m. First item on our agenda is our national anthem. So I'm going to ask everyone to stand and please take off any hats that you might have on, face the flag, and we'll sing the anthem, please. Please grab a seat. Excellent. Next is our land acknowledgement. I've asked Councillor Trim to provide the land acknowledgement today.
As we gather, we'd like to acknowledge on behalf of the Township of Whitewater Region and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history, and we are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all of the generations of Indigenous people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years.
Thank you. Next item is the adoption of our agenda for this evening, and the recommendation before us is that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region approve the April 16th, 2025 agenda. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by the Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Moore. Is there any changes that anyone would like to propose for the agenda? Okay, seeing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor? And it's unanimous. Thank you. Next is some adoptions of some minutes. We have the April 2nd minutes. The recommendation is that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region approve the April 2nd, 2025 minutes. Mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Tabbert and Councillor Trim. Is there any errors or omissions noted by any member of Council in the minutes? Okay, seeing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor? And it's carried. It's unanimous. Excellent. Also attached to the report, there are two other sets of minutes from committees and boards. The first one is Foresters Falls Athletic Association from their February 26th meeting. And the second one is the Beachburg Recreation Association minutes from March 26th. And I'll just ask our council lead for recreation, Councillor Bell, if he has anything he wants to add on these enclosures.
No, just a quick note. It looks like both, I guess all the recreation associations, but the two that are included in the agenda tonight, they both ramping up for the spring and summer seasons for all their activities for youth and adults, as well as a couple fundraisers that are coming up. So just a note to the public, just to keep your eyes out for a couple golf tournaments and some raffles that are going on from Foresters Falls and Beachburg here in the next month or so.
Excellent, thank you. Any questions from any other members of council on those two sets of minutes? Okay, seeing none, we're going to carry on. The next item is our disclosures of interest. Is there any member of council that needs to disclose for any of the items on the agenda tonight? Good. I see none. And I'll just note for the clerk that Councillor Olmsted may join us later virtually. He was on, but just lost him. Okay, when he comes on, we'll just do a disclosure for him. He is back on? Yes, he is. Councillor Olmsted, you can hear me?
I got you now.
Excellent. Good. We're just on the disclosure portion of the agenda. I just wanted to see if you had any disclosures.
No disclosure.
Excellent. Thank you. Good, and that leads us into item 6, which is our presentations. And this council meeting is very heavy on presentations tonight, which we are very excited about because we get to hear what's going on in the community and do some awards later on. So our first up, item 6.1, is our Whitewater Region seniors with an update for council, and I believe our manager of community services is going to introduce our presenter.
Thank you, Mayor. Moira Dow joined the Whitewater Seniors Working Group in 2019 and has been a dedicated contributor ever since. As one of the many passionate volunteers and core partners, Moira plays a key role in helping to establish and promote accessible services and programming for seniors. Her commitment and collaborative spirit continue to support meaningful engagement and improve quality of life for older adults in our community.
Thank you. So just check, can everybody hear me okay? All right. So thank you for the opportunity to provide an update to council regarding Whitewater Seniors. As you are aware, Whitewater Seniors has received permanent funding from the Ontario government to support the continuation of our program. We are now officially a Seniors Active Living Centre, or in short form, a SALC, and this new reality is to be celebrated and will bring stability to our program. And I'm told I need to push a button. Did I do it? Nope. All right. Oh, it's upside down. Just a sec. It might be me. Okay.
We were having a little trouble with your, okay.
We're good? So now can I do it? Rub your tummies. Oh. Ta-da! There we go. Okay. So you all can see the slide, so I'm just going to add to it. Hopefully you can read it okay. Our motto is nothing about us without us as seniors. Whitewater Seniors developed an age-friendly plan based on input from the community through surveys and focus group discussions, which is and has continued to guide us in what we are doing. We have recently started a review of our age-friendly plan, and in our initial conversations, we recognized and also celebrated that we've moved from being a vision or a concept to providing concrete supports for all of our seniors. And I have to remember. Okay, good. All right. Our program is supported by various grants, collaborative partnerships, and many dedicated volunteers. Support and mentoring has been provided to us by Renfrew Home Support, Care4 in Pembroke, and more recently Eganville and District Seniors in accessing federal grant funding to support the development and implementation of our home support program. The ongoing support in kind from the township helps provide us with a home base for our team, so that's greatly appreciated. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, I did something.
No, go one more.
Okay. I have a grandson who is like 19 months old, and when he does something, he goes, uh-oh. So I now know how he feels, and I'm stuck, Carmen. It's not going. So let's delve into what the home support umbrella looks like. These supports that you see up there are or services fall under our home support part of Whitewater Seniors umbrella, and we're part of our vision included in our age-friendly plan. And I have to just give you a sidebar. Our age-friendly plan is celebrated by many other areas that haven't done this. So we've done some foundational work, which is really good. It is a bit like fitting puzzle pieces together. Some seniors may access all of the supports, and others may only need one or two for a short time. For example, would be if had been in hospital and were coming home and just needing some extra support while they were recovering. And in addition to the home support services, we are now offering friendly visiting, and it's included under this umbrella, and this is being very well received. Volunteers who are involved in the friendly visiting are getting even further vetting so that seniors who are having people go into their home know that all the due diligence has occurred for this level of support. So looking at multitasking, okay. Let's look at Meals on Wheels. This is under our home support umbrella, And it really fit with our food security as one of our targeted pillars in our age-friendly plan. Meals on Wheels has been a great success with Whitewater seniors partnering with local businesses, which means a lot to us. We're not having to outsource out of our community. We've received very positive feedback regarding the quality of the food, as well as the connection with our dedicated volunteers. And that sometimes recently where volunteers who have been delivering Meals on Wheels are actually taking the time to stay and enjoy a meal with the senior that they're delivering to. The other, I have to do it again. Okay, the other service that falls under our food security is receiving positive feedback, and that is our frozen meals. And I remember when the pandemic was on that we ran out of frozen soups because when people got sick, they weren't going out to the store, and we had volunteers that would drop it off at their door. So just to highlight for you, you can see from the data that Julie has put together that we're touching a lot of people and making a difference. The numbers tell us, and that what they really speak for themselves when you look at how many hot meals have been delivered, the number of frozen meals, the number of kilometers that volunteers have done, and the total number of volunteers. And this happened over the last year. That's how Julie recorded everything. So it's pretty amazing, I think. The other part is the transportation support, and as you know, we don't have active transportation available. So this is really important, and it's a partnership with Care4 in Pembroke, and it's really to support seniors who may have to go to Ottawa to see specialists and getting there and back, as well as even locally. If they needed transportation for something, they can get attached to Care4 and have volunteer drivers. And I think volunteer drivers also are a part of reducing social isolation. Foot care is another service, and people are able to contact our staff and be able to coordinate having foot care either in their home or go to a center and have their foot care needs looked at. And if the person providing that service noticed that there was something more, they would recommend where that person needed to go to get more help. So that's really the umbrella at this point for our services that fall under food security. The next part is really looking at helping to reduce social isolation, and this was also a pillar in our age-friendly plan that we focused on. So by providing opportunities for seniors to get together to connect, make friends, have shared experience and fun, while supporting lifelong learning is another one of our pillars of support that we focused on. We're partnering with the various geographic locations, which you can see up on the slide, that make up Whitewater to support seniors in accessing programming opportunities. Different organizations are taking on identifying what they want, what their community wants, and then they volunteer their support in hosting the programming opportunities for their own community. So that's making a big difference. I need 3 hands. These are some pictures. It might be hard for you to see, but some moments in time over the last year where we've had different activities, so you can look at that. And Whitewater Seniors is targeting having up to 10 social opportunities per month, which is huge. We used to do 4 a month, so we're just even being more ambitious throughout Whitewater Township. Being aware also of what other groups throughout Whitewater are already offering, we don't want to compete or duplicate, and I think that the team has really worked hard to also inform seniors about other opportunities that might not be directly under our umbrella. Over the last year, Whitewater Seniors has offered over 60 different opportunities and had about 1,000 seniors actively participating. So the message is out, and they're looking for more and more activities. Things that could be included would be chair yoga, line dancing, walking programs, photography, Sound bathing, a music group known as Valley G Notes, who on Monday hosted 91 participants who attended the 3rd Ukulele Kaylee. Participants for this event were invited to come from Arnprior, Almont, Killaloe, Palmer Rapids, Deep River, Petawawa, and Renfrew. And I just wanted to read a quote from, we had lots of feedback and it was all extremely positive. They can't wait for the next one. Loved this event. What a wonderful way to connect and create relationships with others through music. A great organized community event. Thank you for your hard work, dedication. Almost 100 participants in one location is amazing, and we're very fortunate to have the Westmeath Hall to enable us to have such a large group, because that's not the reality in a lot of the other smaller parts that make up Whitewater. We also draw on our network of partners or agencies to provide informative learning sessions on specific topics like digital skills training, Parkinson's, dementia, and other topics that focus on aging well and what that could look like and how do you achieve it. We're also always looking for topics, activities, or contacts that may be of interest to seniors. So please, if you have any ideas or contacts, please let the staff know. I moved too much, didn't I? Okay, back one. In the home stretch. So, partnerships are key to expand our connections so that we can really support networking. We have come a long way, but there is still more to be done. A recent Health Resource Fair in March highlighted a wonderful opportunity for the 90 seniors that attended and benefited from various presenters, as well as all the community partners that set up information display tables for the whole day. We even had a service dog in attendance. The more we network, the more we learn, and the more we help seniors to link to services to help meet their needs. This is a journey, isn't it? Okay, practice makes perfect. We have well over 40, I think it's closer to 60 volunteers actively engaged in supporting the program at this time, which is incredible, and they are all truly making a difference. And they don't have to be involved with all aspects. They might say, I'm just interested in doing food security and delivering meals, and then that is appreciated. Whitewater Seniors is a great example. If you build it, they will come. We now have a monthly newsletter that goes out through emails to inform partners and seniors of what is available and what's coming up. Information is also shared on the Facebook page. Wanted to take the time to thank Council for your ongoing support and ongoing and really important advocacy on behalf of our seniors. We know we are an aging population and our numbers are growing. Thank you also to our dedicated team, Julie Bennett and Lisa Carmody, who are juggling so many balls, and I want to also say thank you to Stephanie for her support on an ongoing basis. While building our supportive program, you are all really making a difference, so thank you.
Oh, Moira, you don't get yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much for the presentation. Well done, and I just love to see this plan that's been 6 years in motion get to this point where we're actually implementing and delivering support. With that being said, I'll open the floor to questions from council. Is there any questions or comments? Councillor Moore.
Just a comment. Whenever this first started, there was no programming locally that we could depend on unless we wanted to go to Renfrew or Pembroke. And Eganville was out of the picture. We weren't even involved in them at that time. But since we've started 6-7 years ago with no money and only a few volunteers, we've certainly come a long way to actually having 60+ volunteers, and not to mention the 2 or 3 staff that are more than eager to help out. So big thank you to everyone and congratulations to all.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks. Any other comments? Councillor Trim.
Yes, I know, Moira, that you touched on the collaboration and cooperation with the other groups, but I think that it's worth mentioning again that with Connect Well and with the seniors groups in Westmeath and Cobden, they're really working together now, and I have to really give credit to Julie, Stephanie, Lisa, and the volunteers for making that happen. But it is, you can really notice the difference. I think, Moira, you would confirm that?
Absolutely, and Haley Station as well. They're a dynamic little pocket that I love to go visit them because they know one another, they support one another, and they know what they want, and then they help Julie deliver it, right? That's a fair statement. So that's really the goal.
So I think that should be stressed and acknowledged. And I certainly thank this group for the good work they're doing for the seniors in our community. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from council? And I can't see Councillor Olmsted right now, but he's not waving at you, Sean? Okay, good.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much for taking the time. No. Thank you very much for the presentation. And I know Julie and Lisa, Stephanie, thank you for all that you're doing from a staff perspective. It's incredible to be able to deliver something like this and not have to use our property tax dollars. And to have the province of Ontario and the federal government chip in and invest in our seniors in this way, it's incredible. And with you combine that with our volunteer support, and whammo, we're delivering something incredible for our residents. So thank you to the staff. Excellent. So that leads on to our next presentation, a tough act to follow. So next we have our Whitewater Region Historical Society, and Mrs. Janis Tomkinson is going to, I think, Stephanie, you're going to also introduce?
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Janis Tomkinson brings strong leadership and unwavering dedication to her role as president of the Whitewater Historical Society. A passionate volunteer and longtime champion of the Ross Museum, Janis is committed to preserving and promoting the rich local history of our region. Her tireless efforts help ensure that the stories and heritage of Whitewater remain alive for our future generations. Thank you, Janis.
Thanks, Stephanie, and thank you very much, Mayor Nicholson, for inviting me to come and give you an update on where we're at with the Historical Society and where we're at with Ross Museum for the 2025 season. We plan to open up in June and have people on board to be able to tour people through the museum when we can. But what I would like to do here is give you an update on some of the main projects that we're working on, as well as all of the events so far that we've got for the museum. So the first one is the housing of the snow roller. Now, some people call it a snow roller, some people call it a land roller, and we've had many a discussion about the name of it at our meetings. But we have a roller that is sitting outside and has been sitting outside for a number of years, and it does not have any shelter over it, and it is rapidly deteriorating. So we wanted to build a shelter for it and then do whatever we needed to do to retrofit it so that it's back into a proper shape. So far, we have received over $5,000 in donations to help us with the shelter, and the shelter is the first piece that we are going to do. And just most recently, I made a presentation to the Civitan Club, and it was announced to us that we got $3,000 from the Civitan Club. So we're upwards of the $8,000 mark for the snow roller. Beatty Pilgrim, who was a past president of the Historical Society, has come on board with us again and is, helping us with the snow roller and with other carpentry type projects that we've got going. So we welcome Beatty to come in and work with us again. The refurbishment of St. Aidan's Church door. The door has been painted many times. It has a large number of layers of paint on it, and we decided this year that we would like to get it back to looking like a nice historical church door. So we have hired Bruce McEwen, and he has offered to come and refinish the door for us. So within the next couple of weeks, we're going to have the door taken off and replaced with a secure piece of plywood, I guess, and have that done. And then Bruce is going to take the door away, strip it, refurbish it hopefully to its original state, and put the door back on. So that'll improve the look of the church, because we do get a lot of people wanting to walk through the church. We have an art gallery in the church. This will be the third summer that we do the art show. We also have a quilt display that's in the church, and we've been doing that for a number of years. We'll do it again this year. So the church is really something that people do enjoy. The brickwork at St. Aidan's Church also needs to be fixed around the foundations and stuff. So we're currently looking at quotes as to what we can do to make sure that the brickwork and the church does not fall apart. So I should also add that Lori Barton is the one who's leading the refurbishment of the door. And Lori and Joanne Pratt are looking at the brickwork of the church. The exhibit hall door, that is, excuse me, one project that's been going on for quite a while as well. And again, it generates a lot of different opinions about how the door should be done. But the problem with the door is that it is mortared into its frame, and it also is uneven at the bottom. So we have to look at ways that, we've had a quote to put a new door in, but we have to look at ways that we can change the entrance to it so that the water does not run into the exhibit hall, which it has been doing. So, and, which does not help us, especially considering underneath the exhibit hall is the water for the fire department. So we have a few things that we have to contend with for that. So we're working on that. The museum signs, I'm actually very happy to say that in addition to partnering with the township to update the signs, we have finally got the size of the signs that we need, and we have submitted them to Rebecca, and Rebecca was going to, put them through and hopefully get the signs designed and made, and then we'll have them put up. So we are putting one sign at the exhibit hall. We're putting a sign at the drive shed, and we're putting a sign at St. Aidan's Church. And the sign for the Ross Museum that's outside the Ross Museum, we're leaving that is. It was the original Ross Museum sign. It's been repainted, and so we're leaving that one as is. On the next page is the events that we're looking at for this summer. To add to this, I was just informed that we got 2 summer students through Canada Summer Jobs. Unfortunately, I guess the trick to it is that the 2 students are for 8 weeks only. Each student 8 weeks, and we were hoping that we could at least get students for 16 weeks so that we could, open up in May or early June. But now it looks like we're probably going to open up for July and August only. So that means I'm going to have to rely on all our volunteers who, to do an extra great job and help us get the museum ready for opening, and possibly open maybe on the weekends in June. So the list is quite similar to last year. We're having a plant sale. We're doing the strawberry tea, which we do in consultation and coordination with the seniors group, because we usually do it indoors, so they use the indoor space. The Canada Day Parade is something that we take part in Foresters Falls every year. And as I mentioned once before, the St. Aidan's Church art show and quilt display will again go on this year. Tour to Whitewater. We are designated as one of the rest stops to tour to Whitewater, and Councillor Tabbitt tells me that we are going on this summer, even though the road is closing. But the road is closing, I guess, on the east side of the museum where the bridge is. So hopefully we'll still get people down to the museum, and the cyclists can come down and turn around. The next couple of months, the only ones that we've put in there for that really are the kids' fun days. And again, Lori Barton is the one who takes on the kids' fun days, and so each week she has a different craft or a different game or whatever that we can do either indoors or outdoors. And again, we're working with the seniors group, and they have to be indoors. They've got the space for it. The Ross Museum Pioneer Day and Bake Sale. We're currently looking at people that can come and do demonstrations. We did quite a few demonstrations last year of weaving and butter churning and other pioneer type things. Our end of season barbecue is in August 23rd, and that's just basically a barbecue to thank everybody who in the community who comes to the museum, and to thank everybody that has helped in as far as volunteering and that sort of stuff. This is our 40th year. So the 40th anniversary of the Ross Museum is we're going to have another dinner at the Westmeath Hall. The date is not October 18th. We have, since sending this, we have had to change the date because we discovered that Taste of the Valley in Cobden is October 18th. So we did not want to compete with that for sure. I mean, and so we have moved it to September 20th. So please, everybody come out to that, and you'll be hearing more about that. I'm currently looking at entertainment for it, and and tickets, and we'll be selling tickets for it. And then finally, it would be the Christmas carols and cookies, which we did last year in November, and we do it down in St. Aidan's Church, and we, turn the heat on and get some goodies and things like that. And we had a great time last year. There was a lot of singing and a lot of fun. So that's where we're at, pretty much. Again, we collaborate with the seniors for the strawberry tea and the end of season barbecue. We are also looking at the possibility of the program that Julie does with, it's called Grandparents, Grandpals. And we're looking at possibly being able to bring some of those students and the grandpals down to the museum, and we'll take them through tours of the museum. So hopefully that will happen before school end in June. And then again, for the summer barbecue, Julie, not our end of season, but Julie is wanting to do a barbecue throughout the sometime throughout the summer, so we'll collaborate with that, and anybody who comes to that barbecue, we will take through the museum as well. So come and join us. Come on down, and keep looking out on the website for our actual opening date. When we're able to do that, we will. But it looks like it should be sometime in June and July. And so thank you everybody, and I thank Stephanie and Rebecca and everybody at in the municipality for all the help that they give us, because we do get a lot of help from you. So thanks.
Thank you so much, Janis.
Okay. I'm not going to sit down this time.
It's incredible. Another volunteer organization doing so much for the community. It's amazing to see all of this detail when you present on it. It's excellent and great
Okay.
for the community.
Thank you.
So thank you. With that, I'll open it up to council. Is there any questions or comments from members of council? Yes, Councillor Bell.
Just a quick comment. Just wanted to thank you and your group for everything that you do. As somebody that grew up in Foresters Falls and has three young boys and another one on the way, I think it's really important to have an organization like yours to preserve some of the history from our local town and our local area, so that the younger generations can take part and take some of this in every summer. And I know you got a dedicated group there. I've been to some of your meetings, and you guys do an amazing job throughout the summer to put on these programs and events for the local community. So just appreciate that, and just want to thank you.
Okay, thank you. Well, we've already committed Councillor Bell to bring his kids down for every Kids Day that goes on throughout the summer. So we're going to hold you to that.
That's perfect. That's perfect. And recruit them, make them sign up as volunteers.
That's right.
It's good. Any other questions from members of council? Any questions or comments? Well, good. We'll let you go. This was excellent. Thank you for taking the time to come and present to council.
Thank you.
Excellent. Our next one, Whitewater Region Public Library. I think we have the new chair of our Public Library Board, Mr. Jim Butterworth, up to give us a presentation update on the library. And again, to our Manager of Community Services.
Thank you, Mayor. Jim Butterworth serves as the chair of the Whitewater Region Public Library Board. A dedicated resident of Beachburg, Jim brings a diverse background to his role, including experience as a market garden owner, health and safety instructor, and volunteer firefighter with the Whitewater Region Fire Department. His commitment to community service and well-being is reflected in both his professional pursuits and volunteer contributions. Thank you, Jim.
Yeah. There are some chairs up front if you want to grab a seat, but you'd have to sit up in the front. Excellent. That's good. Well, Jim, are you comfortable starting without the slides and they'll catch up with you? Excellent.
There we go. Everybody hear me? My wife and I love to see Whitewater Region grow. It's our thing. If you follow us, we love to see our community, our garden, and even our kids grow. And so when I think of all the amazing organizations I get to be a part of, Whitewater Region Library holds a key part to me. It's because it's nimble and it's mighty. It's nimble because we adjust, and we're currently changing our products and services at this point, seeing what works with our community. And then it's mighty because I get to stand on the shoulders of some incredible board members, volunteers, and individuals who just want to see the well-being of the library in Whitewater Region. Perfect. As you can see, we are open Monday to Friday, several different hours as well. And the key part is we are a community hub. On Saturdays, when people want to know information on Whitewater Region, they come to us. They want to know what's happening in Whitewater Region, how can I help? And that's something we want to partner with more, not only with other organizations in the area, but also Whitewater Region in general. Oops. So let's talk about how Whitewater Region is mighty. This is just for council. Who here on council has a library card right now? Let's just see. Who? Oh, 100%. That's weird. And so we are. Shh. And so we are mighty because even in this room, we have 100% of individuals who have a library card at council, which is just incredible. Thank you for your support, even if it's only been for 24 hours or so, or somewhere in between there as well. So continuing on, when you think of, there we go. When you think of the Whitewater Region Library and any library in general, generally we have partnerships and we have after-school programming that happen throughout our week. But there's a couple other things that I'd like you to keep in mind while we go through. And we're just going to go through a couple of key parts of the library. So currently our budget is $112,750. We have 6 staff. We have 8 board members. That's actually doubled in the past maybe 6 months or so. And we have 2 branches currently. And really, the key thing about any strategic plan in general is the Whitewater Region Library is separate from Whitewater Municipality, but we have similar goals. So I thought it was important to kind of talk about what your strategic plan is and how we help. What do we do? So there's a couple of different parts in your strategic plan: infrastructure, environment, economic development, and recreation. We could be here a long time with all these. I just picked a couple because I only got 10 minutes. So the first one is economic development. And so whenever you're thinking of economic development, first thing is connecting our residents to different parts of our community. And that's what they do. When people come up to our librarians, they're asking us questions. Where can I volunteer? What time does the church meet? What about the senior center that I keep on hearing about, or historical society? Also, we support other existing and businesses and hopefully attract other ones just because we exist and we're helping out connecting people to the area. We are a destination for visitors. There's several folks who grab library cards when they come and visit for work as well and use the library in their leisure time. And we also give access to technology. So if you want to apply to a job, you need Wi-Fi for some other service, or you just need technology to access something, we also rent those services out. The next one after economic development is partnerships. So we've made many different partnerships. We have, of course, the Whitewater Region Fire Department was there a couple of months ago, reading to some kids and talking about fire safety. And the folks who showed up were phenomenal. We also have local businesses that we help support, but also work with as well. This is a picture of our trivia night at the Legion. If you're going to win a trivia night, you're going to win one at the library, right? Everywhere else, it's okay. But if you win the trivia night at the Whitewater Region Library, like, there's going to be a parade of how awesome you are. The next one is we also work with the other organizations, so the 4-H Club, the Beachburg Rec, the Cobden Rec Association, the Beachburg Agricultural Society, the Cobden Recreational Association as well, or Agricultural Society, sorry, and many others that we not only do after-school programming where they come in and they're a guest speaker. We've had Ben Shillington come in, who's climbed Everest twice, who got to talk to some folks as well. And this is the part of the hub that we're looking at is community. We have folks come in, present their thoughts, or present to our folks as well. And then we also have the residents. So you can see that we do a lot of after-school programming for kids. And now we have a programmer who helps run all these amazing activities for the kids as well. So what do we do program-wise? Well, we have a couple of different things that we've been focusing on. First off, obviously you need a library card. And so out of non-resident library cards are $15. We have an after-school programs that we just talked about. And we have learning tools. Our learning tools, just wait. I don't actually know how to use them. Debbie and I were trying to play around a bit here. But we have a book they'll actually read to you called a Vox that allows kids to read with it. You can go back and forth, and obviously encouraging reading as well. Don't break it. The other one that I'd like you to look at is we have a leapfrog system, so kids can borrow this, and this is how my kids learn to read, especially this one over here who's read all of Harry Potter before she was 10 there. I won't pass this one around as much. Can you open it up and maybe pass it around a bit? Thank you. And we also have our partnerships as well. The other item that we do is we have the McWaw Scholarship. The scholarship is still open till May 31st. So if you know somebody who's going into secondary or already is, please apply. You just have to be a Whitewater Region resident and also have a library card as well. There's our two previous recipients as well. And we'd like to thank Mr. McWaw, who unfortunately has passed, and his wife there, but they help support this scholarship. So now we talked a little bit about what kind of the Whitewater does. Let's look at some numbers, because I know several people are curious about how we're doing as an organization. So the first one is there's 7,250 residents around that in Whitewater Region. Currently, we have 2,555 library cards, which is about 35%. Now, we're guessing that several of these library cards are also a single family may only have one library card. So it's probably more than that. So when you're looking at advertising any of your events, we're the big group that can get connected to a good portion of Whitewater region. We affected, we're mighty. Next one is monthly catalogs. So again, it fluctuates between the summer and the winter and fall and that other season, spring. And it continues to grow usually through the winter. So around 1,100, but in December we had 2,129, which means almost the entire population of Whitewater region was able to pull out a book during the month of December. They would have gotten it from us. It'd be the same amount. We also have 150 ebooks that were taken out. And then the big one, when I had a little bit of time in 2021, I did an economic impact study of how Whitewater region did. And every single dollar that goes into the Whitewater region library, there was a 400% increase in value back to the community. So every dollar that goes in, we give $4 back to the community. We also have many different volunteer opportunities, and we look forward, whether you want to be a committee member for a couple of hours or go all the way up to a board member or even the chair as well. And this is current strategic plan, and this is kind of our landing point there. So our current strategic plan that we've been working on as a library, we went together as a group. It's still in our draft phase, but we have 3 big focuses. And the first one is our library team, like our amazing CEO, Debbie, and working together as a team, not as 2 separate units. Just as the Seniors Center talks about working with the organization and the people, same thing here. We have to work with our staff and the board have to be all on the same page. The other part of that, and which included training from Carmen with our board training session, which was amazing as well, and learning from our esteemed council representative, Connie, too. We also have advocacy and partnerships. So again, you can reach out to us and talk to us, and we can try and make a great partnership. We're looking for long-term working and hoping that we can help you in some way, shape, or form. And the last one is we always want to ensure that we're relevant and that we include everyone as well. And these are our last 2 slides here. I know I'm running out of a little bit of time there, but we have a book sale / trivia night. So this is the famous trivia night that everybody should attend. You will get letters from rock stars if you get this trivia night and win it. Even if you come in second, you're still doing an amazing job. So we hope everybody will attend on Friday, May the 23rd. And we also have a book sale, which is one of our fundraisers. And you can, again, pick up some books during that session as well. And the last point I just want to mention is this is where we're at right now. These are the municipal grants over the past couple of years. And so, again, we're very thankful for everything that Whitewater Municipality has done for us. We are trying to work with multiple different partners. We are agile and we are mighty. But of course, we want to be very proud of these numbers that are up here on the board. And right now, I'm asking council if they're proud of what these numbers reflect and where the funding is going at this point. Thank you very much for your time, and I'll take questions.
Thank you, Jim. Just before we go, can you introduce your assistant there?
Yeah. So this is my daughter, Ava. So Ava helps out at the after-school programming when our other volunteer is available, Ella, who's a high school student as well. All my kids help out in some way, shape, or form just because. So they'll help me with checking off the fire trucks one day, and then the next day we'll be at the Agricultural Society checking to find hornet nests to make sure that nobody gets stung, and then we'll come on back. And then they'll hang out with me during a Paddle Canada meeting, which is a national organization to make sure everybody is kind to me while I'm chairing it. So, yeah.
Oh, excellent. We love to see how we can recruit. So thank you, Ava, for all that help during the presentation.
Thank you.
And to hear everything that the library does, we are very proud of what it does and what it offers to the community. And I just want to thank both you, all of your board members, but also the staff and Debbie and the years that you've put in to making the library what it is today. It's delivering an outstanding amount of service for the limited amount of dollars that you have from the community. So thank you for everything that you're able to do with that.
Thank you.
Good. Next, I'll open it up to questions or comments from council. Any questions or comments from council? Good. I can't see.
Chris keeps jumping on and on.
Yeah, that's all right. No, nothing from Councillor Olmsted. Excellent. You're
Thank you.
off the hook. Thank you so much, Jim.
And did that book come back?
I was surprised Mark didn't. Excellent. Okay, so this moves us on to our next item, Volunteer Appreciation Awards. So I wanted to highlight a couple comments here first before we jump into it. So as part of National Volunteer Week, it's my privilege to be able to celebrate with council here today the remarkable contributions of 3 extraordinary individuals who exemplify the spirit of volunteerism in the Whitewater region. And as you heard, we had 3 presentations just before this. Volunteers are important. They're important in every aspect of everything that happens in our community. And sorry, you're going to see Carmen set up here. We are experimenting. We have our YouTube, which is all these other cameras you see around, but we're going to Facebook Live this. And hopefully some of the younger generation, maybe in the back row there, can copy paste it into Instagram. We want to make sure we get out some news on our volunteers, so this is a new effort for us to be able to do it. So Carmen, you want to give me your...
Always having trouble.
Okay, well, we'll give it a second. It's all about learning. We're dragging everybody into the current century. And all the young folks are just shaking their heads right now, thinking, it's so easy, just press the button. You're good to go, Carmen? Yeah, you're good. I'll start again.
3, 2, 1.
Excellent. Good. So here, as a part of National Volunteer Week, it's my privilege to be able to celebrate, on behalf of council, the remarkable contributions of 3 extraordinary individuals who exemplify the spirit of volunteerism here in Whitewater Region. So volunteers are the cornerstone of our community, and we know that all too well. I couldn't list every volunteer, every organization, every event, and all of the community building efforts that have happened here in Whitewater Region in 2024. But what comes to mind? There are volunteers touching every corner of our community. We have our rec associations, our sports associations, our school parent councils, our seniors groups, biking, ATV, snowmobile, hockey, curling, and baseball clubs. We've got the Civitan, Lions, the Legion, church groups, Whitewater Seniors, our tourist booth, our agricultural societies, 4-H, junior farmers, our food bank, our historical society, see I didn't miss that one, our Muskrat watershed, our fire department associations, ConnectWell, and even a new organization that's now named Whitewater Gardeners, because I notice a couple gardeners here as well. I could go on and on. The number, what volunteers do for us here in our community is immeasurable. So to all the volunteers, I just want to recognize your commitment to Whitewater Region is nothing short of inspiring. You have given your time, energy, and your heart to make our community stronger, more inclusive, and more compassionate. On behalf of the entire region, I extend my deepest gratitude for all of what our volunteers do. Volunteering is a gift, not just to those you help, but to the entire community. It's a testament to the values we hold dear: kindness, generosity, and a willingness to lift each other up. So today we're going to shine the spotlight on 3 individuals whose dedication and selflessness have made a lasting impact. And I'm going to ask Councillor Moore to MC the formal recognition of our 3 residents. And I'm going to move seats. You're good?
To start off with, we're going to do youth. And our youth person this year is Ava Rigier. Ava Rigier is a...
Sorry, we're going to pause. Ava, so you have to come up and stand with me now.
What's Carmen saying? Ava Rigier is a dedicated and enthusiastic volunteer who has made a significant impact in her community, from helping out at the Westmeath canteen and filling in extra shifts, to contributing over 110 volunteer hours across the Whitewater region and Arnprior area. Ava is always engaged to lend a hand. Her strong work ethic and commitment to helping others make her a valuable asset to Whitewater, to wherever she volunteers. Thank you, Ava.
Mom, if you want to slip up, because I'm going to take a picture soon. Where the lights come from?
Grandma can come up too.
Oh, is Grandma here too?
Grandma's here. Grandma's here.
Oh, right. I'm a little out of it. Okay. Come on, we just start all in. How's that? Good? Good. Proud mom, proud grandma.
Okay, perfect. I love it. All right, good job.
Well done.
Congratulations. We forgot this way.
Oh, that was my one job. One job. I'm sorry, Adrian.
Excellent, congratulations.
Next, we would have adult, and her name is Amy McKenzie. As a, oh, yeah. As the current president of the Muskrat Hockey Association, Amy has exemplified what it means to lead with integrity, compassion, and relentless dedication. Over the past 7 years, she has been a cornerstone of the Muskrat Hockey and dedicated countless hours to youth hockey and thriving in our community. From attending district meetings and mentoring new executive members to stepping in on the bench when needed and personally ensuring no child is left behind due to a financial hardship. Her leadership has ensured that hockey remains accessible and well organized for families in the township while fostering values like teamwork, perseverance, and community spirit among our youth athletes. Amy's unwavering commitment and passion have not only enriched the lives of our players, but also strengthened the very fabric of our community. She is an exceptional volunteer and is a truly deserving recipient of this award.
Put your other one if you want. You can grab one or something. How's that? Do you have someone that you want to join you in the picture?
I have a Muskrat hockey player here.
Just walk over.
Don't be shy. Oh, this is exactly the next generation. We're going to sign you up too.
Yeah, right there.
Good?
Yeah.
Beautiful smile. Great job.
And we know, you guys, I know my wife reminds me of this quite often, but to volunteer isn't just impact on Amy's life, she needs good support. And we need to recognize the family behind the volunteers too, so Amy, congratulations.
Okay. Thank you.
Our next is Lifetime Achievement, and it goes to Laurie Barton, sorry. Laurie? Laurie continues to lead with purpose, passion, and a deep love for her community. She currently teaches senior fitness classes at the local senior center, bringing energy, encouragement, and wellness to those around her. Laurie is also a driving force behind the Whitewater Historical Society, a founding member, past president, and the current curator. She has worked tirelessly to preserve and share our local heritage. She spearheads children's activities at the museum, helps organize a local art show, and continues to find creative ways to engage and educate the public. As a committed member of the Historical Society, Laurie contributes not only as a board member, but as a vibrant participant in the community, in community events like the local fairs. Her entries are always a highlight, and her dedication helps keep these traditions alive. Beyond the formal roles, Laurie is a quiet companion of local businessman community initiatives. She never seeks recognition, yet her impact is deeply felt by all who know her. Whether through her years as an educator, including time as a principal in the Northwest Territories, or throughout her involvement in local theatre, church, and civic life, Laurie has inspired generations. Our community is undoubtedly a better place because of Laurie Barton's generosity, leadership, and unwavering dedication. She is a remarkable individual who truly embodies the spirit of this award.
Now, I see you have some family here. Do you want to name for it?
Sure. Come on. All of them? Come on, all of them. Oh, well, thank you. Hi, how are you? Yes. It's battery. Do I go to use your camera? Sure. And my husband. Come on.
I can email these as well to the council ones.
We can share the photos.
Thank you.
Wow, and for that last one, a lifetime achievement, I can't imagine what the amount of time that you've put into this community, and probably every community that you've been in, Laurie. Thank you. Thank you so much. So to each of you, we extend our heartfelt gratitude. Your contributions have touched our lives and enriched Whitewater Region. You are the embodiment of what it means to be a volunteer, and we are honored to be able to celebrate with you here today. So thank you for your dedication, your passion, and your unwavering commitment to making Whitewater Region a better place for all. Thank you so much. Yeah, okay, we're getting a request. Could I bring up all three recipients up and we'll get one picture with everyone? Is that okay? And you don't need to bring your papers up. We'll just take it with the people. Just your presence. Oh, sorry. Get you guys to stand front and center. I can take a picture. That's all right. Mom has pictures. Yeah. I'm sure Mom's talking about it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we know that there's going to be some people that would like to leave, and just to facilitate that, we're going to take a short recess. If I can just get council members to stay seated, we'll give everybody 2 or 3 minutes to clear that needs to leave, and then we'll start up again. And welcome back to the Township of Whitewater Region's regular council meeting for Wednesday, April 16th. We're going to call ourselves back to order here at 5:54 p.m. And just, you might hear a little bit of noise in the background. We just have some of our other public members leaving. Joyous to be able to recognize 3 very important people in our community, and just a testament to the strength and breadth of our volunteers that we have in Whitewater Region. So next, with council's indulgence, what I'd like to do is make a change to the agenda, recognizing the time that we're at right now. Item number 6.5, I would like to see if I can get a mover and a seconder to consider moving item 6.5, the first quarter administration report, to later on in the agenda. And I'm going to propose that we insert it ahead of 9.3.
So moved.
Good. Okay, so I recognize Councillor Moore has moved it, seconded by Councillor Bell. Any other comments on this? No, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. It's carried. So what that means is we can jump right into the next item that I know a number of people in the audience are waiting for. Save you having to, if you'd like to stay, you can stay and we'll talk about 6.5 at the later. So that moves us into item 6.6. So at this point in time, this is a public meeting that addresses two planning matters that are before council. And I'll just remind people of, and folks that are listening, sorry, we can't close the door. Yeah, thank you. A public meeting is a way for us to make sure, and we're legislated by provincial legislation, to ensure that the public has an opportunity to make comment to council for consideration before a decision is made for planning matters, to formally do that in a public meeting. So what we're going to do at this point in time is we're going to pause our regular council meeting, and we are going to now open and call a public meeting to order at 5:56 p.m. And this, and at this point, I'd like to ask our planner, Mr. Pislagich. I've been practicing, and I'm not doing well.
It's all good. It's Pisklavich.
Pisklavich.
Yeah.
Thank you. Our planner is going to now provide us some important information pertaining to the public meeting process. So over to you.
Thank you, Mayor. If any person or public body does not make an oral submission at the public meeting or make written submissions to the Township of Whitewater Region before the bylaw is passed, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision of the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region to the Ontario Land Tribunal. The person or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing of an appeal before the tribunal unless, in the opinion of the tribunal, there is reasonable grounds to do so. Section 3419 of the Planning Act states that not later than 20 days after giving notice of the passing of the bylaw, the applicant, a specified person who, before the bylaw was passed, made oral submissions at a public meeting or written submissions to the council, a body that before the passing of the bylaw made oral submissions to the public meeting at the public meeting or written submissions to council. The registered owner of any land to which the bylaw would apply, if before the bylaw was passed, the owner made oral submissions at the public meeting or written submissions to the council or the minister, may appeal to the Ontario Land Tribunal by filing an appeal with the clerk of the municipality.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And that will now move into the zoning bylaw amendment D-14-207 for the Bona Vista Campground. Can you give us an overview of that, please?
Yes. Thank you. So the present application was submitted by Bonnie and Dennis Sanguin for the property known municipally as 18070 Highway 17, also known as Bona Vista Campground. Bona Vista Campground is a full hookup recreational vehicle campsite that borders along Highway 17 and to the west. It's bordered by Highway 17 to the west and Muskrat Lake to the east, and the property is surrounded by agricultural lands both to the north and the south. The proposed application is to rezone the rural and waterfront vicinity portions of the subject lands from campground commercial, to campground commercial, exception number 5, with a holding symbol. The purpose of the application is to permit the additional sole use of a drive-in eating establishment, chip wagon, while also laying the groundwork for a potential campground expansion in the future. So the chip wagon can proceed with the holding symbol on. However, the campground expansion cannot proceed with the holding symbol on. And I'll explain later in the report how the holding symbol can be removed. Included in the report are some the applicant sketch. There's also some renderings of what the applicant is proposing to use for the chip wagon, which is a shipping container that's been converted into a eating establishment, a drive-in eating establishment. Okay, so when evaluating this application, I review 3 main documents. So the provincial planning statement, also referred to as the PPS. The relevant sections would be the rural areas and municipalities. So the PPS supports rural economic development, including recreational and tourism facilities that are appropriate to the rural context. The proposed rezoning will allow for a drive-in eating establishment and the future expansion of the campground, and this aligns with that direction of the PPS. The PPS also directs that any sort of development permitted along provincial highways must be compatible with the existing uses, and as the campground is, the drive-in eating establishment is compatible with the surrounding lands as well as the uses of the commercial campground. It should be noted that the Ministry of Transportation needs to be consulted on these matters, and the applicant has been in contact with the Ministry of Transportation, who has indicated they support the project, and assuming that all goes well here, they would move forward with the permitting on their end. Another document that I reviewed for this application was the county official plan. So under the official plan, the subject lands are designated waterfront exception 2 and rural. The current proposal for the rezoning only affects the areas that are designated rural. There's no development that's proposed right now in the waterfront exception area. Again, the county echoes the PPS, or the official plan echoes the PPS around transportation, and just requires that all development must comply with the ministry-established setbacks. Again, applicant has been in contact with MTO, and the correspondence from MTO is attached to the report, and they are favorable, or yeah, assuming everything goes well here. And the last document that I reviewed for this application was the township zoning bylaw. So as mentioned, the lands are zoned campground commercial, closest to the water, and then waterfront vicinity, just a little bit further back from that, and then rural up against the highway. So under the waterfront vicinity in the rural zone, the proposed use of the drive-in eating establishment is not permitted, nor would the expansion of the commercial campground. So we're allowing them to. The proposal is to allow for the campground commercial zoning to come in place to allow for the eventual expansion, and to then also permit the drive-in eating establishment. So to remove the holding symbol, the applicant will need to apply and receive apply for and receive approval for site plan control. So this is a more extensive review process, and so the holding symbol will remain in place until that happens. However, as I mentioned earlier, the chip wagon can proceed. The other area of the zoning bylaw that is relevant here is, again, the setbacks. So as with the other documents reviewed, we need to comply with MTO's setbacks. As I've indicated already, the MTO is favorable to this application, assuming that the zoning is approved. So the planning rationale behind this project, and the reason why I'm recommending to council that they pass this zoning bylaw amendment, is that the proposed activities support rural economic development and increase the tourism base here in the region. The use of the holding symbol will allow for a phased approach to the development of the site. It will allow the property owners to move forward with the chip wagon now, while having a more a closer review when it comes time to expanding the campground. So the in terms of how this project fits into the strategic departmental work plan, it continues to support the retention and expansion of existing businesses in the region. And it is also supports making Whitewater region a destination for visitors. So a part of the application process is to engage in consultation. So the application was circulated in accordance with the Planning Act. The attachment number 4 includes the MTO comments. And then in addition to the MTO comments, I did receive I've received feedback from a few residents. One resident communicated with me that they had concerns around the amount of traffic that will be on the driveway, the shared driveway. So this residents, they also use the same driveway to access their home. They were concerned about increased traffic and the deterioration of the road. Another resident reached out and expressed concerns around possibilities of trespassing on their property. Yes, that is all the feedback I received from residents on this matter. In terms of financial implications, assuming if the bylaw is amended and the chip wagon is placed on the property, the property may be reassessed by MPAC, which could lead to a higher tax revenue for the township. So with that, the next steps in this process would be for you to vote on the matter later in the meeting, and then advise the applicant of the decision.
Thank you, Planner Pliskavich.
Thank you.
Close?
No, yeah, you did it. No, you got it. You got it.
Excellent. Thank you for the summary. Much appreciated. At this point in time, I'd like to invite public comment. Is there any member of the public who's present today that would like to come up to the podium and offer council any comment on the proposal? Excellent. And I'll just check with the clerk. Was there anyone who was logged to speak or provided comment in writing?
I've received none.
Excellent. Good. Then I will open it up to council, acknowledging that we'll formally vote on this matter later in the agenda. But is there any questions that you'd like to ask in this public meeting to the planner about the file? Yes, Councillor Tabbert.
Not being a planner, I'm looking at the same drawing you have up there, and I'm trying to figure out what TRK 123 is and EV 1234 and PK 5678, please.
So that refers to parking spots. So truck, 123, electric vehicle, and other parking.
So when you say truck, do you mean like a...
Transports?
Transports? I'm not...
No, I believe they were... yeah, they are transports. Okay, yes.
Hydro trucks.
Hydro trucks.
Okay, bigger trucks,
Larger,
like not a pickup
vehicle,
truck.
but not like long distance haulers.
Okay, thanks.
Yes.
Excellent. Good questions. Thanks for clarifying those notes on the diagram. And Councillor Bell, questions?
Just a question on some of one of the pieces of feedback that you received. So the access for another residence, is this a shared driveway or is this a private road?
It's a shared driveway.
Okay. So has there been any discussions with the neighboring property on, because I would assume this would have a significant impact. I don't know, is it a gravel road or gravel driveway?
Yes.
So the increased traffic for something like this is going to have a significant impact on something like a gravel road. Has there been any discussion with that neighbor about what the plan would be to upkeep that driveway, or how that would affect the entrance into their home? I'm just thinking with a business, I'm guessing most of the business would be operating between May and September during the late spring and summer months, early fall. just wondering what was the feedback to the resident on that question or their concerns?
There's not a lot okay, so in my opinion, yes, there will be an increase in traffic. The driveway is already used as an access to a commercial campground, so there is already a high amount of traffic on the road to begin with. The driveway is it's my understanding that the driveway is owned by the applicant, and so it would be on them to maintain the road to the standards that they see fit. Because it's not a road, it's their private driveway. So that is where we lie.
Yeah, CAO, if you could add comment, please.
Yeah, so just as a point of reference, the distance from the highway, the entrance, if you will, to the back, go scroll down, sorry, Clerk Miller, the out of the facility is in front of it's well in front of the home. So recognizing there will be more traffic and it might impact the driveway, but I mean, all parties, including the applicant who owns the campground, has an interest in maintaining the driveway for its customers. So we are confident that it'll be maintained to a standard for passage. But yeah, there'll be more traffic as a result of the change. So there's been no direct communication with the neighbor pertaining to that, other than the correspondence referenced here. They received the notice. They were invited to provide inputs in writing, which through our planner Pisklavich had requested they provide in writing. We did not receive any written correspondence at this point in time, so we're prepared to come forward with council with a recommendation. Thanks.
Sorry, I just want to update my comment. We did receive one piece of written communication from that same resident stating the same points.
Anything else, Councillor Bell?
And that was received just before the meeting.
Sorry, stating which same points?
The same point. There was issues related to the traffic, the deterioration of the road, and the deterioration of the road. The letter also addressed concerns around the expansion of the campground, but that's not happening at this time, so I did not present that information.
Right. So just so I'm 100% clear, the driveway is owned by this applicant. Is there an easement back to this house, or how does this person actually have legal access to their house, or how does that?
So again,
work?
maybe I'll just jump in if you'll allow me, Planner Pisklavich. There are some complexities around the driveway, the complexities of which we've never investigated the township because we have no interest in the driveway. The driveway, it's privately held by two individual property owners, and we haven't investigated that. As we understand it, the owners of the campground own the driveway. The way by which the residential property accesses, we're not certain of that. I had a thought in my conversation with our planner. One of the tools to ensure that the plan that was in front of the screen is implemented accordingly is under a letter of undertaking. So you have site plan control approval, which is more complex and sort of has larger agreements associated with it. But in some instances, you do a letter of undertaking. It's a smaller, but another mechanism by which a tool we could utilize to ensure that development is implemented accordingly. So you use it in these types of scenarios. In that letter of undertaking, we could have some general wording around the driveway. And I think that would be fair, and I'm sure the proponent would be supportive of that. So perhaps that's a tool we utilize to ensure the driveway is held to a minimum maintenance standard for passage. Thanks.
Yeah, and just my comment to that is that if the driveway is owned by the applicant and they're maintaining it for the campground, in my opinion, that's up to them to maintain it to whatever standard they want. I was just interested in that complexity for the entrance for the homeowner. So, yeah.
Good, and I'll just make sure that letter of undertaking is carried forward to the report portion of our agenda. We can discuss it then. Good. Excellent. Councillor Tabbert.
I'm not sure if this is the right place for this question, but if they own the driveway, how did these people get permission to build a house without an entrance from a road?
CAO.
So again, there are a lot of complexities around that, some of which I dealt with when I was the planner. without going into great detail, because that's not the content of today's application, the lot was created by consent. At that time, it was the County of Renfrew who were the approval authority. At that time, MTO did object to the proposed severance, and that's clearly in the report. There's a letter from MTO. Our local council at the time, I'm not sure what year it was, did support it. We didn't approve it. We supported it. It made its way back to the county. County had township comments, they had MTO comments, and whatever other comments. And the county ultimately approved the severance, which created the lot. So that's how it was created. There was objection at that point in time. The driveway may have been part of that application. I'm uncertain, but as I understand it, there is, I believe there is rightful access to the driveway to the residence. Yes. Thanks. A lot of complexities around these properties. Yes.
Good. So now I'm just going to ask, is there any other members of council who have a question about the matter at hand? Councillor Moore.
Yes. I think this is a great idea. I think it's a great asset for our municipality. But I do have one concern, and of course it's at the planning stage, I guess, where this comes up. And it may not be us, it may be Renfrew County Health. But what about sanitary services in this facility? If they're taking in drive-in eating, etc. Does that fall under our umbrella or not?
No, it does not. I don't know if the CAO wants to make any comment or the planner, but the certification of food facilities is not a municipal responsibility. It's going to be a county issue.
Yeah, and I guess just to add to that, we're ensuring that there's washroom facilities on site to support the customers, but they will be required to get licensing or permitting from the health unit with respect to the food facility. Thanks.
Good, clear. Any other comments or questions from council? Good, I see none. That point, I just wanted to acknowledge publicly, we received one item in writing, yes, and that was referred to and summarized by the planner.
Yeah, it was the same resident who communicated with me, or verbally reiterated the same comments in a letter to me that was hand-delivered just before the meeting.
Excellent. So that is acknowledged as received by council, and it will be taken into consideration as part of our decision. Good. Was there any other comments received, clerk?
I received none.
Excellent. Okay. With that, we will conclude this portion of the public meeting dealing with zoning bylaw amendment D14-207, and we'll move on to zoning bylaw amendment D14-206, which has to do with the Westmeath Concession 6 EML, part of Lot 3. To put it in common terms, we're talking about Whitewater O'Brien Winery, an application with respect to their properties. And with that, planner, I'll turn the floor over to you for a summary, please.
Thank you very much. So the present application was submitted by Jason O'Brien, who's the owner of Whitewater O'Brien Winery. The application is to permit the placement of a approximately 75 square meter tent structure to be used as what's referred to as a tide house, which is essentially a tasting room for the beverages that are, for the alcoholic beverages that are produced on site. The applicant is seeking a part of that would be to rezone. In order to allow that, we need to rezone the waterfront vicinity to expand it to include the portion of the lands that are currently zoned waterfront vicinity will be rezoned to waterfront vicinity exception 60. And then we are also including this sole additional use of the tide house. The applicant is seeking a temporary rezoning for the approval for this project. And the idea behind that is to allow the applicant 2 years to test the concept of the tide house to see if it works. And if it does, and the applicant wants to move forward with a more permanent installation, then they have at least proof of concept, and there will be a process that they'll have to follow in order to, they'll have to apply for another zoning amendment to move the zone from a temporary zone into a permanent one. So there's a specific definition that I'm advancing for the tide house. So the definition is here in the report, but essentially the tied house shall mean those premises where food and beverages are offered for consumption by the public under license from the Alcohol and Gaming Commission of Ontario, provided that it is secondary and accessory to the existing limited farm use, that the alcoholic beverages are limited to those that are produced on site, and that the space of the tied house does not exceed 75.25 square meters. Okay. So when the proposed location on the property, you can see there on the screen, it's that image there shows the floodplain. So the proposed location is outside the floodplain, and the property is also crossed by a right-of-way, and so the placement of the tied house is outside of the right-of-way as well. Okay, so again, as with the previous application, I have to review this application against three documents. The first is a provincial planning statement. So the proposed zoning bylaw is consistent with the provincial planning statement. As with the last application, the PPS supports economic opportunities for rural businesses and to promote and promotes diversification of land uses. And on-farm diversified uses. So the proposed tied house is consistent with that direction. As already mentioned, it will be secondary to the primary use of the limited, or of the winery. So the PPS also provides guidance on sewage, water, and stormwater. So we are proposing, what's being proposed is that the tied house will operate seasonally and would be serviced by portable toilets for the duration of the temporary zoning bylaw. And the capacity, the number of toilets, as well as the amount of people who are allowed to be in the tied house are determined by the square footage of the tied house. So in this case, there needs to be two washrooms, two porta potties per sex. The PPS also directs us to establish, it establishes protections for natural features and provincially significant wetlands. And as mentioned, the proposed structure is out of the floodplain and away from any sort of wetlands in the area. The next document that I reviewed was the Renfrew County Official Plan. The subject lands are located in an area designated as a rural hamlet. Rural hamlet that designation is intended to support a mix of uses, which can include residential, commercial, and small-scale institutional and recreational activities. So the proposed tied house is small in scale and is seasonal, and the hospitality use aligns with this, with supporting commercial uses in the hamlet areas. And finally, again, the OP also directs us around environmental protection. So we're supposed to avoid development, avoid development or encroachment on sensitive environmental features, and the proposal does that. Finally, the comprehensive zoning bylaw. The subject lands are zoned waterfront vicinity in the township's bylaw. So this does allow for, it's intended primarily for residential uses, but it does allow for limited tourism and recreational uses that are compatible with the waterfront and rural settings. As the limited farm is already, winery has been established, this is a complementary use to that, and I believe that it aligns with the zoning that is proposed. As I mentioned, there's a very specific definition around what the tied house is, and that's there in the report. Another area that the zoning bylaw is applicable here is that it establishes a minimum 30-meter setback from the high water mark of any water body, and the proposed tied house is approximately 100 meters back from the high water mark, so we are we meet the requirement of the zoning bylaw there. So the proposed, or the planning rationale here is that the proposed tied house supports value-added agricultural activity. It aligns with the provincial policy statement, the county official plan. It's temporary in nature, so it won't involve any sort of permanent installation of any sort of infrastructure. So this is allowing the business owner to assess the success of the project and move forward accordingly. So in terms of how this project meets the strategic work plan, departmental work plan, again, it's supporting the retention and expansion of existing businesses, and as with the last application, it's also increasing the tourist appeal of the region. So engagement, in terms of engagement and consultation, as with the previous application, this application was circulated in accordance with the Planning Act. At the time of writing this report, I had not received any comments. I had received one comment subsequently from a resident. It was an email correspondence where the resident had expressed concern about the placement of the tied house in the right-of-way. So I was able to confirm today that the tied house is not in the right-of-way at all, and their other concern was around possible noise. In terms of financial implications, in all honesty, I don't think there are many for the township. I don't believe the land may be reassessed, but it's given the temporary nature of the project, I doubt it will increase the land value. If the proponent moves towards a more permanent installation, that may change. So the next steps here will be to have you vote on the matter later in the meeting, and then advise the applicant of the decision. And as I mentioned earlier, if the applicant wishes to move forward with a more permanent installation before the temporary zoning expires, he will need to apply for a zoning amendment.
Excellent, thank you for the summary. At this point in time, I'd like to invite any comments from the public. Yes, absolutely. If you can come to the mic, and you just need to introduce yourself, Mr. O'Brien, and go ahead.
We can do that. I'm Jason O'Brien. I'm representing the winery, and I thought I'd just give a very brief overview of how we're moving forward. Just to go back a couple of years, we started planting the vineyard in 2014, so my business plan is an extended one. So we finally opened after much investment and time and effort in 2023. And so we're looking forward to opening for the third and second full year, but for the third year. And we want to sort of, I'll give you a little information on why we're doing this. Because I get asked this question all the time. Why did you open a winery where there are no wineries? And I'll just briefly do, so what happened was, in the history of my family, on both sides actually, my grandfathers both attempted to grow grapes, strangely enough. So it's part of my breeding, I guess. And unfortunately, they were a little bit unsuccessful. But what I did was a little research, you know, being a school teacher and whatnot, and I found that at the University of Minnesota, they had created these cold hardy grapes. And they had just been, just sort of came onto the market. So when I found out about this, I thought, you know what, maybe it can be done. And so we proceeded from there to where we are now. I think we've been successful certainly in the comments that we've received from the public on the wine itself. A lot of people seem to really be surprised that we can actually grow the grapes and produce good wine. Of course, I had no qualms about it, but we were very happy about the feedback, and also the feedback on the location. It's basically part of Westmeath, the town, and we're just right along the river, so it's a beautiful location for people to visit. And we've worked hard at maintaining the grounds and making it a welcome location. So sort of the next step in what we want to do is have this by the glass authorization from the ministry, and we need council's approval to get this. So we're asking for this, and we are hopeful that things will move ahead and we can continue to promote the region, promote local businesses. We are collaborating with a number of local businesses, quite a few, and move this forward. And it's an exciting thing. We won the Chamber of Commerce award for the new business of the year, and we've actually put in for several of our wines in competition. So we think it's a good draw for our region, and we definitely, at this time of political uncertainty, we want to make sure that we can keep the tourist dollars here and maybe bring a few extras in. So I'd appreciate your approval on this. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you for those comments, Mr. O'Brien.
Oh, yes.
Is there any other comments? I have to go to the public still, but is there any other comments from the public that they'd like to make in favor or against this proposal? Excellent. The planner has noted that we received some feedback via email, and that has been received and summarized by the planner.
That's correct.
Good. Clerk, has there been any other written comments received?
None.
Excellent. And with that, I'll open it to council for any comments or questions, and I recognize Councillor Trim first.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Before this meeting, I knew what a tide house was, only because Jason took me aside to explain this. Obviously, I live close, so he keeps an eye on my activities, and caught me one day and explained what his plan was. I'm impressed. I'm impressed with what he and his wife have already done, and this is going to be an added feature. And I can understand this is a very good business decision to test the waters, so to speak, before investing actually tens of thousands of dollars to actually make it permanent. And so I'm going to tell you now that I'm going to be voting in favor of this when when it does come up for debate towards the end of the meeting. But yes, certainly this is something that is really exciting for our little hamlet and for Whitewater region as a whole. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Excellent. Thank you. Any other comments or questions from council? Councillor Moore.
I think this is a great idea. It's great economic development for our township. We don't have to do anything. It's all being done for us. But my only concern is that intersection, Sinton Street and Westmeath Road. Just would like to keep an eye on it for maybe this summer and maybe next summer and see if there's any problems and whether we need better lighting, bigger stop signs, lines on the road, that type of thing. Because of the people that would be coming into this might not be familiar with that area. So when they're turning in, they might not realize when they're trying to come out, it's quite a turn. If you're going too fast, you could sideswipe somebody pretty quick. So I think safety is a concern, and I think we should keep an eye on it. And I just put that out there for our manager of Public Works to put in the back of his mind. So I'm in voting for this too as well. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll just give Manager of Public Works any comment you want to make, or just noted?
Just noted. I will follow up with the county because it's a county intersection. Excellent.
But we don't see any impacts to the planning proposal that was presented by our planner?
No, I don't.
Perfect, excellent, good. Any other comments or questions by member of council? So I see Councillor Tabbert.
Just on the drawing there, is there another building located there as well already? There's a black square beside the tent. And I'm just wondering if there's a building already.
Yes, please, if the planner could just indicate.
This is where the tent's going to be.
Right,
That's the porta potty areas.
Right.
And then black. This is just fields right here. These are fields here.
okay, but what's the black square beside the tent?
Sorry, I was trying to pull it up.
That was, I believe, an error that the applicant had made, is that that's not where the colored in orange one is.
No, you gotta go way up.
It's after the.
So it's just an error?
Yes, it's an error.
Okay, so there's no building there? Oh, okay.
Good, so just to acknowledge, if there's somebody watching this video at some future point in time, that the open hollow box on the diagram has no purpose. And I'm seeing maybe the planner, would you like to have a comment from the proponent? Yes, yeah, please, you have to come to the mic, please.
Okay.
Oh. Okay, I'm just gonna, I have to get you to say it into the mic so it goes on the recording.
It's an agricultural shed. That's,
So it's an already existing structure.
yes. Yeah.
Excellent, thank you for that clarification. We're good, planner?
Yes.
Excellent.
my
Councillor
apologies
Tabbert,
for
you're
those.
answered. Excellent. Any other comments from any member of council? And just again for the public, I'm watching Councillor Olmsted here. If he raises his hand, he has the opportunity as well. Yeah, and not yet. Okay, good. Excellent. So that concludes the public input that we've had for these two planning applications. So at this point in time, I will call the public meeting adjourned at 6:36 p.m. Excellent. So now we revert back to our regular council meeting. We have two items before we get back into the reports on these two applications. Okay, so we're just going to go through these two items and then we'll hear the reports on those two reports. Excellent. The next item is the mayor's address, and I will go through the mayor's address. Since our last council meeting on April 2nd, I have attended 16 meetings and events on behalf of council. I also attended a county council meeting on April 9th, as well as 3 committee meetings: health, community services, and finance and administration. One of the events that I attended was with our CAO, the Upper Ottawa Valley Business Summit in Pembroke. A great opportunity to hear from the Canadian Chamber of Commerce on tariffs, the Canadian economy, and the impacts on our businesses based on what the U.S. is doing. We also had the opportunity to learn of two new businesses here in Whitewater region who we were able to meet at the summit. Evermind Solutions, which is a new business that's being opened in Beachburg, offering custom app solutions and safe roads driver training. They're a new business in Westmeath. So we have 2 new businesses that we learned of just as a result of being at the chamber meeting. So great to hear, and we've connected them with our economic development officer. It also amazes me how many other Whitewater residents and businesses were involved in the Chamber's Business Summit. We had Kitchissippi Productions, the owner lives in Whitewater; Ottawa Valley Photography, the owner lives in Whitewater; Wilderness Tours, and Whitewater O'Brien Wines was also there. So it was a very valuable day. CEO and I had a chance to really network and get a better appreciation for the business scene. Another event we hosted here in the Chambers was a mock council meeting with the grade 5 and 6 class from Cobden Public School. It was organized by our clerk, and it gave the students a scenario that they actually had to walk through a public meeting where they were debating for and against a proposal. So it gave them appreciation for how municipal government works and how they can participate, which is important because we want the public to know that this is all about participation and getting feedback. An excellent event, and one that I'm hoping to export to our other 2 elementary schools. There are 3 items that I want to share from last week's county council meeting and committee meetings. And these, although they're not necessarily a municipal responsibility that we would see here in Whitewater, they directly impact our residents. So I wanted to make sure that you're aware of the information I had. At our community services committee meeting, we had a presentation about childcare. And the county has been advocating for the last 2 years to increase the number of $10 a day childcare spots in Renfrew County. This is that federal and provincial program where they're subsidizing childcare. We are terribly underserved in Renfrew County in comparison to other counties across Ontario. And the Minister of Education has just announced the release of 261 new spots for Renfrew County. So this is absolutely incredible news. And county is working through the process by which the spots will be allocated. But it's expected that up to 80 spots will be made available for not-for-profit organizations to bid on them. So the details are still being worked out at the County Council, and it will come back to us next week. The staff are working with interested agencies to see if we can, so our staff, specifically our CAO, is working with some interested agencies to see if we can help facilitate a bid to host some of these 80 spots right here in Whitewater region. So council will be updated by staff at a later date when we know more, but we are advocating to make sure that some of these spots are made available here in Whitewater. And I believe we can make that presentation available to any of the council members that are interested. So good news. The second one, the province's primary care action team, which is led by the chair, Jane Philpott. You might have heard of her. They have announced a first call primary care attachment plan application. So that's a whole bunch of words to say they're looking at trying to get more doctors and nurse practitioners out. And they're making an application-based program where you can apply for funding to expand existing programs. The province is investing $213 million to support the first call for proposals that will create or expand up to 80 primary care teams, including community health centers like Connect Well. It's being organized by postal code, and a large part of Whitewater region is included in this first call. And so we are recognized by the province as being underserved for primary care, and this call is specifically has to address whoever proposes for this money has to specifically address the shortfall in Whitewater region. The Ottawa Valley Ontario Health Team is coordinating the response between existing family health teams and our own Connect Well Community Health Centre. Submissions are due to the Ontario Health Team by May 2nd, so this is short. It's going to happen in May. They'll be confirmed by the province before the summer and implemented this fall. So although we don't play an active part in this process, this is great news for Whitewater and the county as a whole, and we'll share the details as we know more, because as you're probably well aware when you talk to residents, access to family health teams, to community health centers is key. Last one is about a 2024 food affordability report that was released by the Renfrew County and District Health Unit. So the report, which I believe is available in our agenda, next agenda, it'll be coming in, highlights that 1 in 4 residents in Renfrew County and 1 in 3 children across the province are experiencing food insecurity. We already have so many resources in our communities working to support those experiencing food insecurity, and I'll list off the ones I'm aware of. Connect Well has a food box program, Meals on Wheels, and frozen meals from our seniors, Whitewater seniors. All of our schools have school breakfast programs. The health unit does a You're the Chef education programs in our schools to teach kids how to make food from raw products. Our food bank here in Cobden that services Whitewater region. Our organization in Pembroke that, like the Grind and Mesa, that support those without homes. What is frightening is that the problem is growing. When you look at the 2022 report, 1 in 6 in Renfrew County were in food security. In 2023, it was 1 in 6 again, and in 2024, that's increased to 1 in 4 are experiencing food insecurity. I stress again, this isn't something that we can tackle using our property tax dollars, but it is an area where I believe the county needs to advocate for provincial and federal support. So again, an effort that we're working on at the county level, but there is a direct impact for our residents. So I just wanted to share that with you. Good. The last thing I will talk to is, I just remind everyone again that this is the time of year when many of our residents are watching the water levels on the Ottawa River. Frechette for us is when we start to see these huge watersheds of the Ottawa River melting and flowing into the Ottawa. And as I've mentioned before, our regional Concession meetings have begun. Whitewater Region, our clerk is at the table to monitor these levels, the weather forecasts, assessing the potential impact on our community. You will start to see the water levels rising slightly this week. This is the third week of April is when it always rises. We're well within the normal margins through the second, third week of April, but please check it out yourself on ottawariver.ca, our social media page, and our webpage for up-to-date information. If that changes, we will immediately share with all members of council and the public. Good. That ends my mayor's report to council. Is there any questions or comments from anyone? I see Councillor Moore.
Just to follow up with your talk on bringing in doctors and RPNs or whatever, will that be something done at a county level, or will we be involved as well and maybe a letter of support, some type of thing?
Just to clarify, it's for doctors and nurse practitioners specifically. The call, as far as I know, doesn't include nurses at this point. It's being led and organized by the Ottawa Valley Ontario Health Team. We have offered letters of support if they need them. I haven't heard back yet. And CAO, you haven't heard back? No, not yet, but it's been offered. We are working, we want to work with anybody who wants to bring primary care to Whitewater Region. Good. Any other questions or comments? Good. I see none. Excellent. We'll move to the next item on the agenda, which is our public comments. So again, for the public, this is an opportunity for anyone in the public to make public comment on an agenda item. And I'll just ask the clerk if we received any public comments.
We received none.
Excellent. Thank you. Move straight into our reports. Then we're going to start with 9.1, which is a zoning bylaw amendment D14207 for Bona Vista Campground. The recommendation before council is that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region approve a zoning bylaw amendment for the lands described as Ross Concession 1 WML, part of Lot 2, known municipally as 18070 Highway 17, to rezone the portions of the property currently zoned rural and waterfront vicinity to campground commercial, and permit the sole additional use of a drive-in eating establishment, Chipwagon, within the campground commercial holding zone. A mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Trim, seconded by Councillor Bell.
Sorry, I need to make a friendly amendment to the recommendation.
And perfect. This is the right time for that to happen. It's on the table now, so if you can just, I'll allow you to speak now, Planner.
Sure. The recommendation, perhaps it does actually. The recommendation should state that it's changing to commercial campground holding exception number 5. Below it's, oh no, it seems to be fine. Never mind. I think that.
No, you're exactly right, because that's not what I read out.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so it needs to be
the
changed.
version I have has not been changed.
So it's campground commercial exception 5,
Okay.
holding.
So I just want to highlight what I read out is right where it's highlighted on the screen there. Campground commercial holding is all I read. I did not read exception 5. Yeah. So the planner is asking for a friendly amendment to insert that language into what I read, exception 5, and then in brackets it would indicate the E5. So I'm going to look to my mover and my seconder. Is that friendly amendment okay? And I'm getting the affirmative for both of you. It is so amended. Excellent. Good. Planner, is there anything additional that you want to say to this file?
No, thank you.
Excellent. And then at that point, I'll open it up to council. Is there any additional comments or questions that you'd like to make on this resolution before we take the next step? Good. I see none. So we will call for a vote. All those in favor? And it is unanimous, including Councillor Olmsted. Actually, when we do the voting part, Sean, can we move him to one of the screens so the public can? Yep. Good. And I'll just do it again so that. Excellent. So due to some extenuating circumstances, Councillor Olmsted had to take a family member out of town for a hospital visit. unforecasted, and our bylaw that governs our council meetings, our procedural bylaw, sorry, pulled a blank, allows for council members to be able to participate remotely. So that is why you see Councillor Olmsted available to participate this way. And with that, I'm going to recall the vote now that it is visible for Councillor Olmsted. All those in favor? And it is carried unanimously. Thank you. Excellent. Our next item on the agenda is 9.2, which is our temporary zoning bylaw amendment, D14206, for the Westmeath O'Brien Winery. The recommendation is the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region approve a zoning bylaw amendment for a portion of the property described as Westmeath Concession EML, part of Lot 23, to permit the sole additional use of a tied house in the waterfront vicinity, exception 60 zone, and to expand the boundaries of the WVE60 zone to include the associated lands for a period of 2 years from the date the bylaw is passed. A mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Trim, seconded by Councillor Bell. With that, planner, is there any additional comments you'd like to make on this resolution?
None, thank you.
Excellent. And I'll turn it over to councillors. Any questions or comments from members of council on the resolution before us? Okay, I see none. We'll call straight to a vote. All those in favor? And it's carried unanimously. Thank you. That concludes the portion of the meeting that you're very interested in. We will not be offended if you have to leave. So thank you for spending the evening with us. Good. And with that, we'll call a short recess. Thank you, Sean. And welcome back to the Township of Whitewater Region's regular council meeting for April 16th, 2025. We're going to reconvene here at 6:59 p.m. And I'll just make a note that during the recess, Councillor Olmsted had to leave, and that's been noted in the minutes. If he's able to rejoin us, we'll just again note when he rejoins. Excellent. As we voted earlier to move agenda item 6.5, the first quarter administration report, we note that we have a number of other items to discuss tonight. So one of the things that staff have asked me to consider was whether or not we could postpone that item to the next council meeting. So what I was hoping, and that would allow us to not rush through and consider and be able to consider the remaining of the items within our time limit. So what I'd like to see if I can get a mover and a seconder to postpone item 6.5 until the May 7th council meeting. A mover and a seconder. So Deputy Mayor and Councillor Trim. Any debate necessary on this item? I don't even think debate's authorized, but we're not going to have any debate, and we'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Good. Thank you, staff, for that recommendation. With that, we are now noting that item 9.3 is next on the agenda. This is the Blue Box transition, the depot operations agreement with Circular Materials Ontario. The recommendation is the Council of Township Whitewater Region authorize the Mayor and Clerk to enter into a depot service agreement with Circular Materials Ontario for compensation for the township to operate a Blue Box depot at the Ross landfill site from July 1st, 2025 through to December 31st, 2025. A mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Moore, seconded by Councillor Bell. Superintendent Nicholson, floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So at February 21st, 2024's council meeting, staff provided council with a presentation that outlined many of the details of the new Blue Box regulation and the framework around it, and including how Circular Materials Ontario, or CMO, intends to manage the operation of so-called convenience depots throughout the transition period. So transition will affect many parts of our current collection program, and today's report is just touching on one piece of that, which is Blue Box collection at our landfill during transition. I just wanted to let you know that staff will be bringing forward another report on changes to the Blue Box program on topics including curbside collection of non-eligible source material and post-transition planning in the near future. So just to keep that one in mind, I'm trying to keep this just limited to our convenience depot during transition period. And the reason why is today's report is being brought forward is that CMO often passes on to the township very tight timelines to sign their agreements. They provide them and want them back to them very quickly. So that's why we're bringing that forward today. So as I mentioned, Ontario's Blue Box program is transitioning to a model of shared industry funding, and the township's transition period begins on July 1st and ends on December 31st, 2025. So this is what our township's next steps are with respect to operation of our convenience depot, which is at the Ross landfill site. And so CMO refers to convenience depots as Blue Box collection depots that are operated by municipalities that are over and above the levels of service that are required under the regulations. So the township's current Blue Box collection area at our landfill depot is a convenience depot because it's in addition to what the regulation requires. So the regulation currently only requires us to collect curbside, but we also offer the depot because it makes sense. So under the regulation, during the transition period, CMO is obligated to provide support for funding of the convenience depot, so it's just during transition. Now, going forward in 2026 post-transition, they are not required to provide support for that. However, we're hearing that they might. So there'll be some, we'll hear in the future, 1 to 2 months if that is going to go forward. But for tonight, we're just looking at transition, which is that 6 months until the end of this year. So, where can I go on this next? So the depot operations agreement that they've provided to us covers the term from July 1st to December 31st of this year, and it will provide financial compensation to the township to compensate us for our operation of the landfill site depot area. And they're actually providing us $2,816 per month to continue to operate our depot during that time. And so that amount actually is, they've taken our total cost to run the depot area for all of the things that we collect, metal, waste, blue box, and they basically say 20% of those costs are eligible. So that's where this $2,800 per month comes from. And it makes sense because approximately staff report that we see about 1/5 of every vehicle that comes in have some blue box material in their vehicle, probably a little bit more than that, but it's a reasonable amount that they've used to make that calculation. Additionally, there will be some financial compensation made to the town for promotion and education, and that's in the amount of, it says $1 per household per year, so really it's going to be 50 cents per month per household for us at amount of $298 per month. And that will be basically for the township to put up signage and to advertise that we will continue to offer this. The agreement also lays out the fact that CMO will be responsible for all of the hauling costs and the tipping fees associated with bringing blue box material to the Ottawa Valley Waste Recovery Centre for processing. So that's the amounts that they're going to pay to us. However, so during transition, the depot operations agreement will allow us to continue to co-collect or co-mingle non-eligible source material. So that is blue box material that comes from industrial, commercial, institutional properties, ones that are quote unquote not eligible under the regulation. So during this short 6-month period, they will allow us to collect them at the same time, basically put everything into the same single bin, but there is an expectation that we would reimburse CMO for the hauling and disposal costs that are associated with non-eligible sources. So there's a calculation that was done based on MPAC data by MPAC, and it looks at all the properties in Whitewater region, all the residential properties in Whitewater region versus the non-eligible properties. And basically it comes up with 6.7% of all properties under MPAC are considered to be not eligible. Pardon me. So, they will look at all of the blue box tonnage that's collected at the landfill during that time, and they'll basically take 6.7% of that and apply a $200 per ton tipping fee to us, just to basically to reimburse them for the costs that they're incurring to process that non-eligible material. And it's fairly minimal. It's expected to be about $25 to $30 a month during that time. Simply because 6.7% of 2 tons that's not a big amount. So overall, that means that we have a net payment coming to the town that we're expecting of about $3,080 or $18,500 over the course of the 6 months during transition. So staff are recommending that the revenue that's generated from this agreement be used to offset other expenses that we're expecting to incur for the township to provide curbside collection to non-eligible sources during the transition period. Now, as I mentioned, I'm going to be bringing some more information forward in another council report with those sort of costs, as we're just waiting for some final numbers to come in from Miller to offer that service to us. But what we would like to do is basically offset those costs with the revenue that's generated by this agreement. So the next steps in this are to execute the agreement and provide it back to Circular Materials Ontario. And that's everything. Do you guys have any questions?
Thank you so much. And I'll go to the mover first, Councillor Moore. Any comments or questions?
That's a lot to take in. And out of all that, I have one question. On January 2nd, what happens to all the co-mingle that's coming in the 1 in 5 cars? How do we handle that?
Yes, so it's going to be up to council. That's one of the next decisions that'll be coming forward to you, whether or not we want to continue to offer collection at our depot. So as I mentioned, CMO was talking about that they might fund the eligible sources in 2026, but we're not sure. We're waiting to hear on that. And then council will also need to make a decision on the non-eligible sources. Will we continue to collect at the depot, or will we continue to collect at curbside, or will we continue to do both? If we are to continue to collect curbside, we would likely need to set up our own collection program, find a contractor to haul the bins away, and we would pay the tipping fees for that. There would be a requirement if we collected eligible and non-eligible in 2026. They would have to be in separate areas. So CMO will not allow you to commingle it. You will have to have two separate bins set out. So there would be some rearranging need to be done at the landfill site. And we'd also have to consider who's paying for it and how. Would there be a user fee similar to the waste management user fee that we have now? Or will we collect it as a tipping fee? So those are things to be ironed out, and they will be coming. I will be coming back to council with some information on that shortly. I also want to mention that staff actually have a meeting with tomorrow that has been opened up to all Renfrew County, basically public works departments, all the people in Renfrew County that deal with waste. So we're all meeting tomorrow together to start to talk about if we can get a group effort together to sort of start managing how we're going to think about how we're going to manage non-eligible source material, whether that's group contracts or the such, because we've gone from 4,000 stops under our current control to we're looking at about 120 stops. It's a pretty dramatic fall. So in order to get that economy of scale where we want to see if we all group together, if that'll help with the costs associated with delivering that. So that's the discussions are starting on that tomorrow. We have, I think, 15 municipalities participating. So we'll see what comes of that, if that helps answer your question.
Perfect. So does that help, Councilor Moore?
It does. It brings up more, but we'll get to it as we work through it, and I think things will come to light, and maybe you and I will have to sit at your desk someday and have a few conversations.
For sure.
Thank you.
Good. So clear, just from a public perspective, we're breaking off the decision we need to make right now that extends us for the next 6 months, but all of the questions that you raised about what about January 2nd, non-eligible, how's it picked, that'll all be decided in due course between now and December 31st.
Hopefully way earlier than that.
Back onto staff. Thank you. Good. Any other questions? Sorry, seconder was Councillor Bell. Anything from you? Good. Any other questions or comments? Councillor Tabbert and Councillor Trim.
Yes, from July to December, can residents bring their recyclables to the landfill still?
Yes.
Okay. Can I ask one more? The follow-up is every municipality with a landfill having an agreement with CMO?
If they wanted to continue to offer collection at the landfill, yes.
Okay, so if they don't offer collection at the landfill, will that mean that they will bring in their collectibles to our municipality, or how will we know who's bringing in recyclables to our municipality from outside?
Our landfill is only permitted under our ECA to allow material from residents generated within Whitewater region. So we are not permitted to collect material from outside residents, and nor does the agreement really expect that.
But how do you know if the person driving the vehicle or bringing the vehicle in with the recyclables is Whitewater or not?
Yeah, so staff at the landfill regularly will ask for identification with other address or a water bill or something showing that they are a resident of the township, and that's an ongoing struggle and something that we should be doing all the time anyways, just from the garbage perspective. But yes, that is something that staff regularly do. Staff are familiar with most people because they're regulars, but yeah, they often do.
Thank you.
And Councillor Trim, please.
Yes, I appreciate that what we're deciding, we're asked to decide tonight, it doesn't really deal directly with what happens after the transition period. I do accept that. But I'm just wondering how much of a surprise is all of this going to come to the non-eligible source material, people? Like, I know that it's not a surprise to us. We're going to be deciding this tonight, and then Deanna and her team are going to be leading us through, and we're going to have other decisions in the future. But I'm just wondering, what about the commercial? What about our arenas? What about these other places that are non-eligible sources? How much of a surprise is it to them? Are they keeping up somehow, or is it our responsibility to make them aware? I'm just a little bit fuzzy on that part, although I do know that that's not what we're deciding tonight.
It's a good question. I think what Superintendent Nicholson has already highlighted is we've identified 120 impacted addresses, essentially. So I don't know, I'll leave it to staff. Do you want to discuss this further tonight? Do you want to bring this forward at a future council meeting, just to get into a little bit more if you need council direction in some area or not?
Yeah, I think it might be a good idea to bring it forward, but in the meantime, I think staff will consider what the appropriate course of action would be to notify those the businesses, presumably, and if they need more notification over and above a council, like viewing the council meeting. So yeah.
I accept that. That's really reasonable. Thank you.
Excellent. If you can take that away then and let us know. Good. Any other questions from members of council? If not, I will call for the vote. All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. It's carried. Good. Next item is number 10, which is the notices of motion. And I will look to see if there's any notices of motions. I see Councillor Moore.
Yes, in light of what happened again in Beachburg today with no water, I would like to put on the table that we start investigating and documenting what is happening in this area so that we can keep a better track of it, because now the costs are starting to pile up on just this one section of pipe, and there seems to be a high expense. So I think under a notice of motion, we'll track this better.
Excellent. Thank you. So I made a note here, investigating, documenting on the Beachburg water main faults that reoccurring in the same location. Good. So received notice of motion for next council meeting, and you can work with staff to prepare what you want to bring forward specifically. Good. Any other notices of motion? Okay. Thank you. Next is correspondence. So the first item, we have one item under requiring direction, and this has to do with the recent provincial announcement awarding strong mayor powers to 68 municipalities, 69 municipalities in Ontario. Enclosed is a letter from Minister Rob Flack and the minister's letter to the heads of councils. So the recommendation that is in front of us is that the Council of the Township Whitewater Region direct staff to bring back a fulsome report with more details from the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing with respect to these strong mayor powers. And just for those that might be watching, I've amended the recommendation just slightly with some additional language. Good. Is there a mover and a seconder? So moved by Councillor Tabbert, seconded by Councillor Trim. Is there any discussion? Sorry, before I ask for questions, I was going to turn it over to staff to provide just a brief overview as to why the recommendation is for us to ask for a more detailed report. So CAO?
Yeah, so I think the letter to some degree comes as a surprise for municipal CAOs for that matter, and probably for members of council. I've connected directly with the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing staff, the regional employees, and essentially making up the 169 municipalities are those municipalities that have 6 members of council or more. So that's how they've kind of made the decision and established the 169. Currently, there are 47 municipalities who have strong mayor powers, and there's 444 municipalities. So they're moving in, they're establishing or legislating these powers more and more, and finding ways to do so. I don't have a great deal of information. There's no need to, to endorse the decision or object to the decision. They've placed it on the environmental registry where you're able to provide input. So any individual member of the public could provide comments. And then they will take those comments back through their staffing teams, and then it'll come back to Queen's Park later this month for a decision. So what's happening right now is I've connected with some of my colleagues, my peers, so sort of the town of Petawawa, Laurentian Valley, Pembroke, to better understand what their strategies are, how they're going to present this to council. So the same letter will appear before the city of Pembroke, town of Petawawa, and LV in the next week or so. The municipal MFOA, Municipal Finance Association of Ontario, Ontario Officers Association. They've already scheduled a webinar. I think it's in the next week and a half to provide some financial impacts or inputs as it pertains to this decision. AMCTO is going to be hosting things, and legal firms will be doing the same. So at the discretion of council, the recommendation is to direct staff to bring back a report. And I think once these sessions are held, we'll have more information to explain to the members of council what that means and what exactly the new legislation may mean. So legislation does exist. In the letter from Minister Flack, he does outline some bullets. I mean, these bullets, there's legislation to back these bullets. These are summarized powers, if you will. So I would encourage council just to leave it with staff. We'll report back what this means and go from there. Thanks so much.
Thank you, CAO. Questions? So I'll go to Councillor Tabbert first as the mover.
I know you said no questions, and I had a whole whack of questions regarding this, as I'm sure other members did.
And sorry, and I would say it's important. We may not be able to answer the questions, but it might help shape the report that he brings back. So just if you can offer the areas that you want more information on.
Oh.
Yeah.
Choose to appoint the municipality's CAO. I mean, this is giving our mayor, why do we even exist after this? Because, I mean, it says the mayor will appoint the chief's administrative officer, and the mayor will pass bylaws, not the mayor specifically, but the heads of council. And he can veto bylaws. Like, what are we going to be doing? If he can do all this, we might as well just go and have our own meeting over at the Legion. So when you said that there's more behind these, I mean, this is I hate to say this word, but this is Trump speaking to us.
Okay, well, we have to be careful.
Yeah.
CAO, I understand your frustration.
And while I don't have the full breadth of response to your questions, the message and the legislation always speaks to provincial priorities, and those priorities are established in regulation. So the province has established what those priorities are. So if a mayor, as I understand it, and again, I'm hoping I could come back with a more complete report, is if a mayor is going to utilize the powers, it needs to be in response to provincial priorities, and that's transit, housing, and there's a few others. So there's some accountability around this. It's not just you could do whatever you wish, for lack of better terms, but there are some accountability. There are some restrictions that exist in legislation and regulations around that. So I just want to make that clear. But the full comprehensive report could come at a later date. Thanks. So noting your comments.
Noting the comments. So I think in the report that comes back, like specific examples, to Whitewater region where like a housing decision might fall within that purview, that would help frame it for Councillor Tabbert. I can't think of one right now. I'm not prepared to discuss it, but that when he comes back, he'll be able to offer it with some context. Good. Is there anything else you wanted to share? Yeah, okay, good. And I'll go to Councillor Trim then.
Yes, and these are powers that the mayor or head of council could use. And I'm heartened by the fact that there are already, and have been for some time now, 47 municipalities with these powers, and I'm heartened, as I say, that it doesn't seem to be abused, and so that's something good, I think.
And I would just come back. There are some specific examples of where it has been used. I think I was listening to a podcast. I'll share it with the CAO just to come back. There are specific examples where it's been used by the 47 municipalities that have had it in the past. An example that was offered, and again, I can't collaborate it, but when Bonnie Crombie left her municipality to run for provincial politics, the replacing mayor came in and replaced the CAO and a number of senior staff. Yeah. And they were granted that authority by the province. So that is just one example that I heard about on this podcast. So good. Yes. Sorry, I'm just going to wait. Councillor Trim, is there anything else you wanted to say? No. Okay. Before I come back to you and do my second round, I'm going to make sure everybody else has a chance. So, Councillor Moore.
Just one comment. I think I've said it before, and I'll say it again. With the township our size, do we really want to go down that road? Would we not be better to ride on the shirt tails of, say, the county, who already have 2 buildings in our municipality, without trying to strike out on our own? That's the only thought I have. This gives authority for the mayor and or CAO to get into like the building business for housing. We do not do housing, but Renfrew County does.
So I'm just going to...
Am I reading too much into that?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
I understand where you're going.
Take it back.
But that's good, because the report that comes back from the CAO has to put it into context. What does it mean for Whitewater Region? This does not give us the authority to start doing things that are not traditionally within the scope of a municipality. We're not building houses. It may give us the authority to approve a zoning amendment, as an example, and I know the CAO is probably going to pull his hair out with me venturing into this, but a zoning amendment, that approves a new house someplace, maybe this would authorize for that to be overridden by the mayor because it meets with the provincial priorities. But I'll push it back to the CAO, because we're just talking hot air. He's going to have to put these examples on a paper. How does it apply in Whitewater Region? Okay, good. And the next comment, I'll just add to it, because the context will be good for what comes back, is that we are creatures of the province. We exist at the province's decision. And the legislation for what powers they give or take are completely at their discretion. So that context we need to make sure is clear in what comes back. What does this mean to us? Good. So, Councillor Moore, is there anyone else that wants to offer anything? Good. Deputy Mayor, please.
I'll just offer one final thing, and that is to come back to our staff and our CAO where this heads. Because as far as I'm concerned, this is like taking full authority away. And I'm looking forward to the report coming back for sure, because I'm not in favor of that. If it meant maybe the next step, if we have to go down from 7 down to 5 to sit in this and do this, maybe that's a step. Anyway, that's just where I'm going with that. Thank you.
That's a great point in terms of house. But I would echo the concerns that both you and Councillor Tabbitt have highlighted so far has to do with staffing. And that is really important for us to understand to what extent, what does that mean? And I'm not saying we need to decide as our own council right now, but whatever policy or how we interpret this will be referenced for future decisions and discussions. So it's important to have a fulsome review. Good. Anything you want to add, CAO, at this point? No? Good. I'm going to come back to Councillor Tappert.
I was just going to say that on what Councillor Trim said, that there hasn't been any problems that he's aware of. I'd like to get that podcast. I think I would like to find out exactly what has happened in other municipalities, because I just, can we not fight the government? We can't fight the government on this? And those other municipalities are okay with their mayor just having willy-nilly to do what he wants? Like, I'm having such a hard time with this.
No,
so.
the reaction is different, and maybe in the report we can give some examples to how it was either received or rejected by the other 47. But right now it's just been thrown at these other 169. The AMO context might be valuable to include in the report to provide us an appreciation for how AMO is approaching this, because they're the advocate for the 444 municipalities. But I agree, we need to understand what are our options going forward. How do we apply this or deal with this internally? Fair? Good. Any other comments? Am I close? Oh. Okay. Our screen is falling asleep. Okay, so the resolution on the table is essentially directing staff to come back with a more detailed report encompassing some of the discussion points that we highlighted today. We'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Excellent, unanimous. Thank you so much. Information items. We have a number of information items here. What I'm going to do is, I highlighted some of the key ones from the County Council summary in my mayor's address, so we're not going to speak to that unless somebody has a question at the end. The next one is the AMO letter. Sorry, okay.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, but just a comment about the other letter from Minister Flack, the code of conduct one.
Yes, and what I was going to do is ask the clerk to speak to that one in a little more detail as it pertains to our last council meeting when we had the discussion about the integrity commissioner.
I'm sorry.
That's good. So clerk, can you just provide a brief summary?
Sorry. Yes, so AMO is writing a letter requesting to meet with Minister Flack. They are asking for 2 amendments to the Code of Conduct bill, and one of them is the change requirement from unanimous to a super majority vote. So instead of having unanimous, it'll be a 2/3 vote. Again, this is just a request for amendments. It's not, they just want to meet with Minister Flack. The other one is the progressive discipline option. They're hoping to see a range of penalties for integrity commissioners, for integrity commissioners, which could include banning from meetings or committee roles or allowing discipline for short removal from office. So the legislation is going to be meeting in April to discuss this matter, and AMO is asking for 2 amendments to the legislation proposed.
So just the context from last week, we were wondering where we were with this. As the clerk has highlighted, there's still amendments being proposed by AMO. If there is something that council members wish to have considered or they have suggestions, please, we can talk to the clerk whether that needs to be a resolution from council or we can provide that feedback directly. We'll go from there. Good. Does that trigger a question, Councillor Trim?
To comment, I think these are reasonable suggestions from AMO because this is how school boards operate. And so it's already something that is being done. And so I think that's very reasonable.
Perfect. Thank you. Thanks, clerk. The next one is the EOWC newsletter. And I'm trying to remember. I was supposed to bring up something and I've forgotten. I will follow that up. We'll skip to the next one if someone remembers. The next one is the Renfrew County and District Drug Strategy, which we won't review. It's a very lengthy, very well-written document that speaks to how we will deal with the drugs overdoses within Renfrew County. And the last one is the March 2025 update from the Ottawa Valley Health Team. This doesn't speak to the primary care. This was issued before that primary care program has been announced, but in there it does talk about Aging in Place Forum on May 15th. If you're interested, you can sign up and register yourself. There's no cost, and you can come and participate in this forum. And really, it's trying to come up with a 10-year County of Renfrew plan to help our seniors age in place. So pretty much in line with our age-friendly community plan at the county level. So valuable. Good. With that, we'll move on to announcements. And I'm going to go in our traditional order here with Deputy Mayor. Any announcements?
Not at this time, thank you,
Good.
Mayor.
Councillor Bell?
I was given two here to read off. So Fortress Falls Athletic Association is having their annual general meeting. It's on Wednesday, April 23rd at 6:30 p.m. at the Fortress Falls Outdoor Rink. So if there's anybody in the area that wants to attend that, that's the date and time. Topics are to include the plans and events for the rink and the ball diamond coming up for the upcoming year. And then the other one's from the Cobden Rec Association. They're hosting a Cobden Easter egg hunt on Saturday, April 19th, starting at 10:30 at Crescent Care at the nursing home in Cobden at 12 Rand Drive. So it's the hop into the egg hunt. So you can get some photos with the Easter Bunny at 10:30, and there's a special surprise at 10:30 as well. It says here to get ready for a magical experience with some of your favorite beloved friends from Timeless Stories. An enchanting surprise awaits you. And then the egg hunt is at 11 o'clock. So if anybody's interested in participating in that, those are the dates and times for those two events.
Excellent. Thank you. Councillor Tabbert?
Yes. Yes, there is a spring tea being hosted by the Riverview Seniors and the Westmeath District Recreation Association. It's being held on May 4th, and registration deadline is April 26th. And you can call Linda at 613-222-2965. And the other one I have is, you heard about it a little earlier tonight, but the Whitewater Library is hosting a used book sale and a trivia night on Friday, May 23rd at the Cobden Legion. The book sale is from 3 to 7, and the trivia starts at 7:30 with registration from 7 to 7:30. And I'll just say that last year, our book sale, our used book sale, it's the same as this year. It's by donation only, and we made close to $1,000 last year. So come on out and support the Legion, because there's a wing night that night as well. But get some books and have some fun at trivia. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Moore?
I do. I've got 2 Airport Commission and Hydro meetings coming up next week. And just to let the public know that if they haven't seen it on Facebook already, hydrant flushing has started. It started in Beachburg this week. And then into the first week of May, it'll be happening in Cobden. So if anybody has any water troubles out there, please let the office know, and they'd be certainly glad to document it and forward your message. Thank you.
Good. And Councillor Trim?
Yes, I guess this is first annual Roy Church Memorial. It's a cornhole tournament. It's going to be held here in Cobden at the arena, May the 10th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And you can sign up. It's online. There will be games, raffle, music, and concessions. So, as you know, Roy Church is a longtime employee of the municipality in both the roads department and in the fire department. So this this tournament we should support it. Thank you. May 10th.
Perfect, thank you. The other announcement that I'll just say is, you'll notice that you've got this special decoration on your... This is care of the clerk? No?
Definitely.
Our manager of community services, to get us in the spirit of Easter with your Easter eggs. Thank you so much. Oh, excellent. So you're putting volunteers to work right from the ripe age of whatever it is, 4, 5, 6 and older. So thank you so much. Appreciate that. And it's a nice just to have something, a theme associated with what's happening this weekend. Good. Bylaws. So next we have 3 bylaws listed on the agenda. the 2 zoning amendments and a confirmatory bylaw. The recommendation is be it resolved that the bylaws listed on April 16th, 2025 agenda be taken as read and passed. A mover and a seconder, please. The Deputy Mayor, Councillor Tabbert. Any final comments or questions on these bylaws? Seeing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor? And it's unanimous. Thank you. And at this point in time, we do have a closed session this evening. So I will ask council if they would consider a motion to extend our meeting until 8:15. Moved by Councillor Trim, seconded by the Deputy Mayor. All those in favor? It's carried unanimously. Thank you. And with that, oh, clerk was giving me a signal. Yeah, good. With that, we are going to move into a closed session. The recommendation is that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region move into closed session at 7:40 p.m. as permitted in Section 9 of the procedural bylaw to receive advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communication necessary for that purpose, litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board. This is respect to the Cobden wastewater treatment plant, and litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board. This is with respect to Elva Drive, with staff remaining in the room. A mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Tabbert, Councillor Moore. We'll call for the vote. All those in favor? And it's carried.